Hey everybody, this is going to be a little bit of a weird video because I'm using my camera. You'll see why in a bit. This all stems from an issue where I was on a dealership site and their key fobs were not working. And I saw it with my own eyes where they could be a foot away from the vehicle and the fob would not unlock the door to the point where they would have to use the mechanical key to open it. And even then, when inside the vehicle, when they'd go to hit the start button, it would say fob not detected. So you can see why that would be problematic. So what I just want to go through quickly, hopefully try and, if this ever happens to you in the future, I kind of have a little bit of information that might help you to sort of resolve sort of these rogue signals. What it was in this case, it ended up being an aftermarket car starter, and it just decided to go ballistic, and it started screaming out at 315 megahertz. Keep that in mind, 315 megahertz. This was after a recent installation of a few Meraki's, which, as we all know, operate on 2.4 or 5 gigahertz. That's 3 orders of magnitudes like difference, and there's no way that it was interfering, but went in and showed them that that's not the case. But I suggested that they do a spectrum analysis, and since then I kind of went and tried to figure out how to do it on my own. So what I want to do for you today is just kind of give you a proof of concept of both generating a signal and also being able to receive one on your phone. And my camera is going to keep doing that because it times out, but that's the best I can do. So starting out with the hardware, you need what's called an SDR. And this is an SDR, which is a software-defined radio. In this case, this is called a Hack RF1. Now that I've played with all my gear, I did not need to spend this much money, but it's still all good. Another thing as far as hardware is concerned is these dorky looking old 1980s antennas. Antennas are, they're a big deal with SDR. Well, with any RF. It genuinely ties into the physics of stuff, and you can track the squawks from airplanes, stuff like this, and you can literally graph it, and you can also listen to all sorts of stuff, and none of that's bad. What's bad is if you start generating frequencies that are interrupting normal communication for other people. So this is all white hat. So I'm connected directly via USB with my Hack RF1. This is going to be my signal generator to show you later. Whoops. There we go. And this is also an SDR. This one is an SDR. I kind of like that. This is the one that I'm going to be hooking up to my phone. Again, another antenna, like a different style. I've got a lot more to learn about that. Of course, we have my key fob for testing. And this guy here, I am surprised I haven't known about this until now. But this is called an OTG dongle, which means on the go. So this is for plugging in anything like a keyboard, a USB drive, game controllers, or in my case, an SDR. So that's going to get plugged into my phone. And then I'm going to go through the software with you. So one moment while I do that. All right. So I now have my SDR plugged into my phone. The software in my case, RF Analyzer. It's free off the Play Store. And you'll also notice that I need my RTL SDR driver installed. No biggie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start it up. And I'll show you that it's already under settings. The first thing you see is source type. and it's set to RTL SDR, which is what this little guy hooked up to my phone is. That other box I showed you before is the Hack RF, which I've also used on this phone, but in this case, we're using RTL SDR, so cancel. So all you do is you hit the play button, and you'll see RTL SDR drivers running, and I'm right around the 315 megahertz range, and you can zoom in, zoom out. But the cool thing is that waterfall. I don't know where that 315 megahertz signal is coming from. You can see it there right down the middle of the waterfall. But that's been standard. What I'm hoping to do is actually drive around and see if it goes away. But in any event, just to give you a demonstration that this is actually picking up on 315, I'm going to unlock my car. And you see how it pulses there. And now, just to give you an idea of the physics of the antennas, I'm going to put the car start, the fob, behind my back and do it again. And do you see how there's two distinct spikes? That's the signal that's coming from it. Now here it is close to the antenna, and then here it is far away from the antenna. And in fact, here, you'll even be able to hear my car when I lock it. There you go. So I can at least show that if there's a signal on there, the hot stuff, the predator vision, it shows up, no problem. So now on my screen here, what I'm running here is Gnu Radio Companion. I don't know if you pronounce it GNU or New, but either way. All this is it reminds me of a database, like a relational database, but it's not. What you have on the right-hand side here is a whole ton of, well, they're called blocks. And each block, it can act as an input, an output, an amplifier, an oscillator. I made that last one up. But you can select from a whole lot of different items, and this is getting further than I want to go, but in my case, all I wanted to do is create a noise source. And you see here, this is an output, and on this case, it's an input. And if none of those are satisfied, then one of these will complain to you. But all I'm doing is generating noise, and I'm sending that to a GUI FFT. I still don't know what FFT means, but this means it's going to generate a wave, like it's going to generate literally a GUI, and it's going to show you what it's outputting. This one is the one that actually tells my Hack RF1 to actually spit out 315 megahertz signal. This is generating random noise, and it's also going to show it to the graphic user interface so we can see what the heck's going on. So we're going to just run with this. Now, the one thing that you need to know, there's a ton of different software. There's tons of different hardware. The driver installation was a nightmare, and I finally got it. I tried in Windows, and I couldn't get Windows to go. I just got tired of it. It was just difficult, and in my case, I'm using Ubuntu, and it's way, way, way easier. And you can set up variables and stuff, and in my case, we're going to create this one called demo. What this does, all it is, don't confuse this GUI with the GUI that I'm talking about. This is the GUI I'm talking about. All this GUI does is generates Python. That's it. So if I'm already in my RF directory, you can see there's a couple of files there. I'm just going to generate the flow graph, and you'll see here it has exported the demo.py. So I can now open up the Python script. And all this did by putting these blocks on and creating the flow graph is generate a Python script. You can throw in all sorts of stuff. Like I don't know what, half this stuff is. So this one's looking for an output and an input. I don't know what that does, so I'm just going to delete it. But let's go ahead and open up that script. All right. That's some CSS. Wonderful. Where am I? There we go. So this is the Python script that was created by this. And now you can go in and modify the script, which is awesome, because now you can really get down to you can dig down pretty deep as far as you want to go. So what I want to show you is, if you pay attention to if you pay attention to the waterfall, which, by the way, that was the thing that got me really I'm gonna, just to show you one more time, lock my car. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this noise generator, and this is not anywhere near anything that can block anybody, so we're not crossing any boundaries here. So I'm just going to start the graph, and you should see it. There you go. Now look at all that noise coming in the waterfall. You saw the waveform just jump, and that's coming from the Hackar F1. So now I'm going to stop that, and you can see all that noise went away. So imagine you're around a parking lot and you're looking for this frequency. And again, here it is. That's me hitting my car. And I'm going to start the script up again. There you go. So even with that noise generated, this is not interfering with anybody, because I can still lock my car, which you heard. So in a nutshell, and I'm going to stop this. In a nutshell, I'm pretty sure that if ever I come across a case where they're like, our fobs aren't working, I can use my cheap little SDR to locate it. Because you literally walk around like, it looks like science fiction almost, but anyway, that's kind of the end of the tutorial. If you got any questions, let me know. But I'm gonna lock my car and call it a day. All right, I hope that helped anybody out. That's a lot of information, but it took me a lot to figure out, and there's a lot of stuff. But if you got any questions, let me know. All right, take care, guys.